Okay, welcome back to John Teaches Chinese. Um, Before all the lessons we focused on the Chinese kanji, Chinese characters or the Chinese alphabet. Actually, the alphabet we Chinese people never use it. Okay, after maybe we reach the primary school, we never use the Latin letters again, which means if you just learn the pinyin, the alphabet, you can only read the book that is written for the you know primary school student. Okay, you would never see any of the pinyin in normal days, almost none. So you have to write Chinese kanji or Chinese characters. You have to write and read. Okay. Uh, Again, maybe some of you find the Chinese characters, Chinese language is very similar to Japanese. Okay. Uh, but I can tell you here, Chinese and Japanese are totally different languages. Okay. In Japanese they have letters, which means still you can spell their language. They some of their language, for example, let's say Nihon, they just write it in this way, but still you can write it. I forgot how to say it, but I know it's like this kind of letters. You can still write it. You can still spell it. But if the Japanese people, they do not write like these letters, you're gonna have difficulties how to read it or how to pronounce this word, this kanji, which means even the Japanese people, if they do not go to school, they may not be able to to pronounce the kanji part. Okay, so for Chinese, it's even more because we do not have any letters. The current language in the human society, I know only the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, are similar with the form of the modern Chinese or in the ancient Chinese. Because any of our characters, for example, we see here, it used to be a picture, just like the Egyptian. They have eyes, okay, okay, they have a bird there. Uh, okay, it used to be a picture. So you have no idea when you, for example, you see the Egyptians, they have eyes. You have no ideas what these eyes. How they gonna read it? You might know that this almost means something to do with eyes, but you have totally no idea how to read it. But in Chinese, if you do not go to school in the ancient time when China used to be very very poor, study is always a luxury things in China. So back to then, the Chinese people, they can speak Chinese because that's their talent. When they are babies, they can talk, but they do not know how to write. They can't see. They can't read the books. Okay, because they see it is they see this one is similar with the foreigner see it. They have totally no idea. Even up to now, uh, even the present days, I still can come across some people from maybe from village, from countryside. They are very young. They are only 40s. They said, I cannot read. It really surprised me. So we still, China is still big variety. Uh, People from people to people is very different. But for me, I think I'm educated, and for most of the young people who go to school, I see these characters, I know how to read it, I know the meaning of it. Okay, so for you foreigners, you have also to read it. which means when you see the characters, you not only know how to read it, but also know the meanings. For example, this character here is 横, okay? If you do not go to school, which means here is blocked. Of course, here also blocked, which means you do not know anything about it. But if you go to school, you would know, okay, this character read that 和, 横, and also the meaning of this character means horizontal. Okay, so this is the logic of the Chinese kanji. Remember, normal days, Chinese only read kanji. There's no pinyin. Okay, so it might be terrible for some of the learners. They spend a lot of time learning pinyin, but they find the Chinese will never use it. Okay, but it is a great step for even when we were young. We start with pinyin. When I just joined the primary school, the first day I learned a or e. So actually, for my generation, 1990s, we learned the Latin letters, the foreign letters. For us, it's foreign. It's even much earlier when I start to learn the traditional Chinese kanji. Okay, it's a little far, huh? But it's just an introduction to help you to understand Chinese, to help you know what you're gonna do with this kanji, why you have to learn kanji. Also, for some of the foreigner, when they see this, like this part, they start to have a headache. You know, I can understand it. It's just like when I go to India, you know, their letters are writing in this way. You know, I have totally no idea what they are writing. And also, I remember when I was study Arabic, I want to remember how this alif, ba, ta, tha. You know, I spend almost, I try more than 5 times to remember all of these letters. Okay? For example, if you have never learned Arabic, I write you as this. You have no idea what this means or how to read it. Okay? Like here, this is the most familiar words that I know about Arabic, right? If you have never learned this language, it is quite normal for you to know nothing about another language. You don't know what's the meaning of it, you don't know how to read it, and it's quite normal. Okay, so for you, you Chinese learners, even now, you have totally no idea what this means. It is quite normal. Okay, for some of the Japanese people, you can understand it is quite normal because it's the same meaning as it in your kanji. Okay, and for some, maybe a small percentage of Korean people, you might be able to know this, to know some of it, because I know even in Korea now, there's still some of the kanji is still preserved, but it's okay. Um, you're proud. I respect you. You don't want to use Chinese, it is okay. Okay, so if you learn the language, you would know this letter represent ga, and this means similar with this ta or da, and this one is like r. So it read ka ta dr. Okay, it have some other dots ka ta dr. Maybe I'm not sure. And when you see these 3 letters are joined together, you should know that they represent a country, which is this one, Qatar. Okay, you just see this, you focus. Let me study it. If nobody teach you this is the country's name, even you see it, no matter how much you see it, you can't know what's the meaning. Before, maybe 5,000 years ago, for the Chinese, they might be able to really see what's the meaning of a kanji. For example, maybe at the beginning, many years ago. Maybe the Chinese kanji, you see it, maybe you know it means your eyes. Okay, but in the splendid and the very, very rich history of China, the Chinese kanji have developed into the modern kanji, which actually have very big difficulty for you to know the original meaning at once. Okay, so this I become in this way, become like a square. All the Chinese one, if you, I add something, huh? If you, some of you, you might think the Chinese and Japanese are almost the same. How you separate it? Chinese kanji is always a square, almost all like a square. But the Japanese language, because it still have some of the letters which might came from the Asian Chinese, one of the mood. Okay, uh, uh, how can I write? It's like this or what? I forgot. Okay. Well, anyway, in Chinese, it's always like a square. Okay, that will be Chinese. For example, here you give a square, it can contain it. Okay, we goes too far. And back to our course. And when a foreigner, when for example, I give a foreigner, I give him this. Okay, usually the foreigner can write it in very different way. As they can write in this way, they can write from right to left, down to above. Okay, this only have two stroke, and they have already created so many ways. You see this. What if I give you this character? You know, if the foreigner can write it in many kind of ways. Somebody write in this, somebody write again. Okay, for your good. Okay, the stroke have different sequence. You have to follow it. It's better for you to follow it at the beginning, because when you are writing kanji, if you do not follow the sequence, you have it's very unlikely for you to write it beautifully. Okay, but from the beginning, you have to first separate that the Chinese kanji is made up from different strokes and only made up from these strokes. It's not when you are drawing pictures, you can in any direction, any length. No, Chinese kanji can only be written, be formed by these strokes. First one is horizontal. It is very easy for you to understand, right? So as we see this one, actually this stroke could form, this stroke alone can form a kanji, which as you see is 1, right? Quite easy. You find kanji is not that difficult. Second, you put 2 horizontal. It gives you 1, 1, 2. Yeah, it's just 2. Quite easy. Then vertical. This means 10. Okay, very easy. And here you see the kanji. You should know the meaning. It means 10. Also, you need to know, you match it with its accent, this pronunciation. You should read it as shi, shi, and not she, huh? I will mention it later in the later courses. But now you have to, you just need to know it's read shi, shi, sorry. Okay, we have it here. It have a stroke, horizontal, then vertical, shi, which means 10. And this one, guess, How you gonna rate it? Not this. Okay, not this. This is not the correct sequence. You should write in this sequence. Horizontal, vertical, again, horizontal. Here, now, you do not need to ask why. There's no why. You just follow. After a long time, if you have a chance to learn Chinese well and you go to Chinese writings, you're gonna know. You can only write in this way, in this sequence. It will look beautiful and smoothly. Okay? But here, if you really find this is more convenient for you, you can write it, no problem. Okay? But it is better to have a good habit from the beginning. Okay. The third one is called 坡耶撇. This 撇 usually have only one meaning, which means this kind of thing, this kind of stroke. Okay? Which they give the English left falling. Left falling. I do not even me. I do not know how to translate it correctly. Okay, it's just this kind of stroke. It is called 撇. Okay, 撇. Okay, as we can see here, he wrote in this way. This is just a 撇, a stroke. And this one, it is 那. 那 is also this character generally only means this kind of thing, this kind of stroke. It means 那. Okay, right falling. So when you see this character here, first you do the left falling, then you do the right falling. 撇 那. Okay? Again, when you see this one, it means this kanji is to read 人 日 en 人. This one you do not need to remember. Okay, for time being, it means human. Here our aim is just to get familiar with the strokes. 人. Okay, next one, it's right in this way. Okay, when you see it, ask a Chinese, because some of the print for you, foreigner, you may not be able to separate. If you write it too close, it will become another character. Okay, so it's better for you to confirm with your Chinese teacher. You have to write it separately. Okay, yes, it means 8 in Chinese. Read 波啊八八八. Okay, in English or maybe Spanish or some of the Japanese logic, you only go to this part. Okay, there's the meaning that we want to demonstrate. It's a 8. I want to demonstrate this 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to demonstrate this number, this meaning. Okay, I read it 8. So 8. Okay, or in other language, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Okay, how to spell it? Okay, 8. Okay, or nuit. 8. How to spell? Excuse me, I forgot. You read it 8. You just spell it 8. Okay, or it's Samania. Okay, you just write it Samania. Okay, but in Chinese, it read ba. Okay, bo a ba. But in the ancient time, we do not have letters. We do not have pinyin. But so we directly go to a picture to draw it. But this picture have a sound, and we just know this sound, and the school will teach us this picture have a sound as ba ba. Okay? And this picture, his sound is ba, and its meaning is 8. Okay? Can you understand the logic of the Chinese kanji? This difficult logic, this extra step is actually what gives the foreigner and non-Chinese speaker difficulty, extremely difficulty, which means you should also, these are the meanings. If you are learning French, you basically, or you just need to know how it was pronounced. Okay, you remember how it was pronounced. Basically, you can spell it, right? But Chinese, you should not only just know how it is sound. Okay, you just know, if you just know the sound, you just know how to speak it. But you still need to know how to write it in kanji. Okay, so there's one extra step. But unfortunately, the Chinese kanji is even a little difficult to remember. Just like when you see this one, this pie, you really have difficulty understand it or remember it. Even when I was young, we still need to learn how to write it. Go to school. I think I just learned most of the useful kanji. I think before my senior high school, I have always been learning it. Okay, goes a little far, huh? So we have already introduced horizontal, vertical, left falling, right falling, and dot. For example, dot, we have this one, no, not, which is sound. The sound is bo, wu, bu, and it write as horizontal, left falling, vertical, and a big dot. The reason why you think this big dot, why is this such a long, why so long, and you call it dot, is because in the ancient time we are using Maobi, as we mentioned before in the previous, when we are doing the syllabus. It's the firm pencil. These are all ferns, so it can when you hit the paper, right? When you hit the paper, this is a paper, huh? So such a big area, a long area, such long, are all colored. Okay, that is the reason why in the handwritings we have this kind of things. This is also what we see, how we value if you are a good Chinese writer or not. Okay, this is the reason why when you see this one, such a long one, you still who say it's just a dot. Okay, I hope you can understand. If you don't understand, no problem. In the future, I will organize a lesson to teach you how to do the Chinese handwritings with the firm pencil. Okay, 毛笔. Actually, I used to have this kind of lessons as well. Okay, we just go through this. And this one, 6, is the meaning, how to say this meaning, 6. Okay, this is 6, le, this is you, last one, 6. 6, we already know how to say it. Then we still need to know how to write it. This 6, dot, horizontal, left falling, dot. Okay. Next one, big, kabil. Kabil and here it is the a. Last tone da. Da. This sound big in Arabic kabil, in Chinese da. Okay, in Arabic maybe you just put a ka, give a b, give a r. Okay, kabil. You know it is read kabil, you just ka b b l l, halas. But in Chinese you can write de a da in pinyin, okay, but we do not use pinyin, okay, in normal days for our own Chinese people. So you have to again change it into the Chinese kanji, which write in this way, okay, horizontal, left falling, right falling, okay. Next one, sky, okay, sky in Chinese, 天 te yan yan te yan tian, first tone 天. Okay, we know the sound, how to pronounce it. Okay, again we need to go to school to know how to write it. Horizontal, horizontal, left falling, right falling. Okay, yalla, halas. Okay, we see how he write it. Okay, that's how we write it. Yeah, by the way, the Chinese, no matter you write it in the traditional firm pen or you in nowadays pencil, general law is that you write in a kanji, you write basically from left to right and from up to down. Okay, remember this. So when you see this kind of thing, which means mouse, okay, you generally start from the left up. Okay, you now you know it. You cannot write it like a drawing pictures. Okay, from the place that suit you. It has a sequence, and as well it has certain strokes. Okay. Well, it's fine. Next one, we need to have a basic understanding of the single component characters, which is by its meaning simple ones, which means one. You can write it. How he write it is different with how you should write it. I write it in this way because I'm writing how you should write it with the traditional Chinese firm pen. But if you are holding a pencil, you just need to write it in this way. Okay. Okay. Two horizontal. With this one, do you have the meaning? Do you have any ideas what's the meaning of it? This means one. This means two. This means three. Very easy. Now, do you still remember how to read it? Remember, the meaning, the character, and the sound should be all matched. Okay, this read This one here, now you know that the meaning, you know the meaning and how you write this kanji. Now you will become like a Japanese. But even the Japanese people, if they have never learned it, they do not know how to say it, how to pronounce it in Chinese. So now that's the reason why I am here. 四 and 三. Okay, this means 三, 四 and 三. So as you can see, these three sound are totally different, right? It write very similar. Okay, and it is very obvious, very direct of the meaning. The meaning matches how it is written. but the sound is quite different. Also, I noticed that almost all the languages have the same problem. It is not like the first one is the the second one is the an, and the third one is si and san. None of the languages will be like this. For example, uno, dos, tres, ons, zwei, drei, 1, 2, 3, un, deux, trois, واحد, اثنين, ثلاثة, right? None of this, even the Cantonese, yi, ya, yi, sam, it seems they have no, the 1, 2, 3, they have, it never sounds the same. Okay, we goes a little too far, huh? Okay. Next one is 10. You write in this way. This is 8. Okay, you write in this way. This is 6. You write in this way. Okay, 8. This is, remember how to say it. 10. Remember, huh? It's not she. 10. 8 8 6 6. Okay. Here you just need to remember it right in this way, and it contains dot, horizontal, left falling, dot. Okay, not right falling. Okay, I think that's all for today. Next time we're gonna go through some of the new words of this lesson. Yalla.